This is the Black Bible.
Hold on now. There is no way we come back from a 3-year hiatus and we still have the same intro. We gotta do better than that. Welcome back to the Black Bible.
The Black Bible.
The Black
The
Bible.
Black Bible.
Stop. That was season one's intro. I can't believe I had to say this. Roll the new intro. Welcome back to the Black Bible, where 3-year hiatuses is the norm. But for real though, we are not dead. Surprisingly, we are still kicking. Surprisingly.
Not surprisingly. I mean, that's true. Because then who would know if we died?
I mean, if you've been following us from Exasperated, then you would know that, hey, this time last year, we actually did, podcast. And then we disappeared in like the middle of May because of just like, yeah, it ain't worth it. It's not the algorithm. It ain't worth it. So we've made an executive decision to go back to our roots again.
It's not like that we've never left our roots, but I think the pivot wasn't worth it.
Mm.
And so we've repivoted. We unpivoted.
I like repivot.
So we're back with more content, hopefully more consistently from our mouth to God's ears.
Knock on wood.
But this time in this month of February, we're going to talk about relationships, and not just like romantic relationships, but friends and family, because those relationships are as important as romantic ones, and some of them even more.
Don't forget about self-love.
Yes.
Or your relationship with
yourself, which is more important than romantic. Because if you can't love yourself, then how are you expecting others to love you?
And so to start off, I think it is fitting that we start off with friends because marketing wise, relationships is for next week because Valentine's Day is next week, Saturday. So we're starting off with friends. We'll just go from there. So as I kind of sort of did a bit of research and kind of looked into the definition of friends, I believe this came from Webster's dictionary. This is how you know it's been a while because usually I would have put found from, but all this stuff I have down here on the notes is just pulled from the internet without no credit. So my high school teachers would definitely give this an F for plagiarism. But we have friends, and here are the definitions that I found. One attached to another by affection or esteem, sometimes used ironically or humorously to refer a person who is disliked or annoying, an acquaintance. One that is not hostile, one that is of the same nation, party, or group, one that favors or promotes something such as a cause or charity, a favored romantic companion, which I think that one came from more like Victorian type era definition of friends. A member of a Christian sect that stresses inner light, rejects sacraments and an ordained ministry, and opposes war. A person included in a list of one's designated connections on a social media service, or something that is beneficial, expedient, or advantageous. Now, I've grew up my whole life just thinking that friends is just somebody you got along with.
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen that the definition a member of a Christian sect that stresses inner light. If you know what Christian sect that is, let us know. Never friends. I have never, or I'm thinking I never heard that, or I'm thinking friends like da 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 da, like
Right.
na 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 na. I've never thought of friends as having such an elaborate definition.
So My question is, and the first question back, woo, how does these various definitions kind of reflect our own understanding, not necessarily yours, but I guess as a society, in this crazy society, understanding of friends? Because when you really think about it, even if we don't go based off of these definitions, we do have work friends, we do
Yeah.
have school friends, we
Yeah.
have church friends, we have childhood friends, we have all these, we have friends, but we also have all these different categories that we put friends into,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for sure. We can, if we go back to the definition, I agree that a friend is one that is not hostile. And I would say intentionally hostile.
Mm.
Because then, in all honesty, a friend is going to tell you the truth. Your friends are not yes men. If your friends agree with you on everything, then I would check your friends. Because if you say, I'm going to jump off a building, and your friend says, "Hey, why? Why?" Like, and they're not concerned, they're going to say, "Me too." Absolutely not. That's something, I don't know. It feels like um you have a yes man in your camp, and that's no good for you.
Mm.
But when I mean intentionally, not intentionally hostile, they're going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you, no, you shouldn't jump off this building, or no, red does not look good on you. Not because I'm trying to be mean, but because red just doesn't look good on you. And that's just the truth. I'm not trying to tear you down. I might say, try burgundy. Red is kind of too hot. Burgundy's a little less hot, for your skin tone. It might be burgundy.
Mm.
Or, you're going to get in arguments because you're two different people trying to, you know, have a relationship, not romantic, but you're trying to build your community. It's going to get hostile. It's going to get um heated, but not because I hate this person, and not because I want you to fail, but because I have an opinion, you have an opinion, and at the end of the day, we might not agree, but you're still my friend.
Right.
So I think that that definition really stick with friends.
I mean, the one that I find funny is that how it sometimes is used ironically or humorously to refer to a person who is disliked or annoying.
Mhm.
Because we ourselves will be like, "Oh, there go your friend."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
can't see the look I'm giving her right now, but it's just like, "Yo, what are you
Yeah.
what are you
There they
talking
go. There
about?"
go your friend. There go your friend.
Like, your
Mhm.
friend today said this. Who told you that they were my friend?
Exactly.
But and that's I'm like kind of like thinking about, as I said earlier, all these different definitions and all these different ways that we categorize friends. Like we know that sometimes these categories will bleed into each other.
Mhm.
But I think whether it is a school friend, whether it is a church friend, a childhood friend, a work friend, or just a walk, it could be a friend that you just really and truly go walking with.
Mhm.
Like I think the mutual thing about it is having that respect for that person. Like
Exactly.
you said, two different people, two different ideals, two different lives. Even if you are both Christians, you're still two different people with two different experiences.
Mhm.
But what separates a friend, it's been it's been such a long time. What separates what separates a friend from just an acquaintance, even though the acquaintance was just a definition in here, or what separates a friend from just a random individual on the street is that you understand the differences and you learn to live
Mhm.
and accept the differences.
Mhm.
Not everything that your friend does you are going to accept, but
Mhm.
but even those things that you don't accept, you're like, you know what? The good outweighs the bad,
Exactly.
is essentially what I'm trying to get to. So it's funny that, and looking at this now, is just like life events has made me hate the word friendships for a while. I'm healing. All right, I'm trying to get back there. But we see that even in the Bible itself, it
Mhm.
talks about how and why friendships are necessary, and we see that in Ecclesiastics 4:9-12. It says two people are better off than one. I don't even have the translation written down. I guess this is the NLT. Two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person fails, the other can reach out and help. But someone who fail, fall. God, I can't read.
So if someone
Who falls
yeah.
I don't have my glasses.
I'll
Let
pick
me.
it up. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble because I have to wear my glasses 24/7. So I'll read. Likewise, two people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone with a blanket? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. Continue.
So we see that again, like biblically wise, friends are necessary. And I
Mm-hmm.
could say from personal experience, even though I don't live for the applause of others,
Mm-hmm.
but having someone say, "Hey, you really did that thing," makes me like, you know what? It makes me feel good. Like having somebody who says, like, you know what? I know that you're struggling, stay strong. You got this, God got you, and just offer that encouragement. It
Mm-hmm.
it helps because there are times, at least I'll speak for myself, there are times to where yes, I can encourage myself,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it's just like no matter how hard I try to encourage myself, no matter how loud I sing, no matter how hard I pray, I just can't get to that point where I'm like, you know what, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But having somebody else who's like, you know what, hey, I know you're struggling. I see you're struggling. I see you're hurting. I see you. But you know what? You didn't let this take you under. You know what? You're still here. You're still fighting. For me, sometimes it's like I don't want to call it's not it is. It's like a boost and like, you know what? A, thank you, God, because
Mm-hmm.
I need to hear that. And B, also thank you for giving me people in my corner that
Mm-hmm.
can see me and speak life into me, even when I can't even speak life into myself.
mean, and I don't think, like you said, it's not a bad thing to have people speak life into you and have people around you because think of David and Jonathan.
Right.
I mean, those they were friends to the point where Jonathan's like, "This is my brother. Like, I would die for this man." And their relationship was so good that even when David was on the run from Jonathan's own father,
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan goes out and say, "Hey man, you good? Okay, this is what you need to do. Da 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 da. I might be wrong, but this is as much as I remember, right?"
That's fine.
But Jonathan goes out to check on David. Jonathan goes out to encourage David. Jonathan knew, first of all, Jonathan, this is how good this friendship was. Jonathan knew that David was going to be king and still was David's best friend.
And Jonathan was in
And
line to be the next king.
that, dude, listen, now that I'm thinking about it, that friendship is mad powerful.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean? You're going to take my place, and I'm still going to treat you like you're my flesh and blood, like you're my brother? Yo, that's a friendship on a different level, no matter how much people try to make it weird, you know? But when you when you think about that, like that David needed that person. David needed Jonathan. Jonathan needed David, and David wept when Jonathan died. David was because that was his best friend. So I mean, having a friendship, man. Can you imagine having a friendship that's deep? Like that deep? Like my father hates you. But regardless of my father hating you, I'm still going to treat you like you are who you are. I'm not going to treat you less than. Matter of fact, yo, here's the cloak off my back. Like I'm supposed to be king. Me, Jonathan, supposed to be king. And because of the follies of my father, God rips that from me and gives it to you. And I still see you not as my enemy, but as my friend. And I'm willing to die for you. I'm willing to suffer the wrath of my father, who again hates you
Mm-hmm.
for you. Yo, yo.
So it so as we get back into the swing of things, I'm going to hear a lot of that in these first couple of episodes. When we think about David and Jonathan, sorry, was definitely what we could classify as a jetpack friend for David.
Sure.
And for those who don't know what we're talking about, I am currently reading through 101 questions you need to ask yourself in your 20s because I am struggling as someone who is in their mid-20s. I am struggling. Written by Paul Angoni.
Hmm.
Hopefully, I said that right. And I won't read it all because, as a fellow author, I do not believe in putting out somebody else's work for the world, for the whole world to hear without them getting properly paid. But he asks in question number 3. He says, "What kind of friendships do I have? Jetpack friends helping me fly, or anvil friends repeatedly pulling me down into some dark basement?" And he defines anvil friends as this: anvil friends, someone who continuously is a bad influence or negative voice in your life. Someone who doesn't really want to see you change, grow, and be successful because they want you to stay stuck with them. And so, my question is that I wonder if for some people, whether it's Christians or non Christians, believers or non believers, I wonder if the struggle isn't finding friends, but is finding the right kind of friends.
Oh, for sure. Um, and I will say this in my own experience, making friends is hard,
Right.
especially since, and I'm going to pull on architecture and all this other stuff that I've learned since our hiatus, right? Especially since the way that neighborhoods are set up, especially since the way that cities are set up, suburbs are set up, they're not set up for community.
Mm.
You have to, there's no, the term neighborhood school is gone. People are busting, especially if we're talking about where we live. People are busting from all sorts of ways of the county to come to your neighborhood school. Nobody walks to school anymore.
Really?
Um, People don't want to take the bus. Um, Georgia's public transportation is crap. You know, like how so there is a cry for third spaces where that's not your house, this is not your work, this is somewhere else where you can go and connect with friends, with people, with community. That's the third space. It used to be libraries, but apparently nobody reads anymore. So it's not like you said, it's not the struggle. The struggle is finding the right type of friends. There's a whole lot of anvil people,
For
and
sure.
the problem that people don't understand is not everybody who says is your friend,
Hmm.
and you're not built to connect with everyone. Because uh what I believe and what I stand for, we might clash, but the fact that we can still agree is a good thing.
Hmm.
But then there's certain people. If you ever come, have you ever come across a person and it's not that you don't like them, it's not that they're not nice. It's just that you just can't connect. You're just not meant to. And if you try to force a connection, that connection will fray, it will blow up, it will combust because you just weren't meant to connect with that person. And so the issue, like you said, it's not that we don't and it's not that making friends is making the right friends. And I can tell for myself, some people don't know how to make friends.
Mm.
Like me. I never made a friend in my life. I'm not the person who's going to go to somebody and say, "Hey, my name is Yasmin." Da 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 da. No, no. If I walk up to you and tell you my name, I'm networking. I'm not trying to make, trying to get a job. Trying to make, trying to make some type of
Some type of dope.
some type of no. I am working, not trying to make a friend. But what happens for me is that I get, I'm very much, and it comes from some trauma, childhood trauma, which we might go through right now. I'm very much, I'm just going to lay low. I'm going to feel out this group of people, especially when I was in college. It's lay low.
Mm.
See who says what, see who does what, and then kind of go, this person kind of vibes, their feel, their words, their energy. Even though in Christian, we were talking about we don't offer on energy, but like not like aura, but kind of like their personality really connects with mine. And okay, we've worked together on a project together, great. Okay, I kind of feel their vibe, you know? Other people, acquaintance, this person, I could really like, okay, we could be friends outside of this. We're friends outside of college. Like when we get this diploma, I'll hit you up because I actually like you. I'm invested in your life, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. That's how I make friends. And I never introduced myself to none of my friends. All of the people who I called friends kind of gravitated towards me, or I've gravitated towards them, and we kind of like are in the same sphere. Now, I'll tell you right now, there's some people that I called friends who I should never call no friends. They were no friends of mine. I shouldn't have been no friends of theirs. It should have just been, let's just work on this project together and move along and move it right along. But, and I'm rambling, but
Sorry.
like you said, it's not about, for me, my problem is A, making friends, but B, the right friends. And how do you know this is the right friend?
Because the thing I was going to mention is that, and I find God to be hilarious. And this is why I say God has to have a sense of humor. Other people in our circles have said it, and now I'm saying it too. God has to have a sense of humor because sometimes there are people that we are meant to forge like a really deep connection with. Again, not necessarily be in a relationship, but meant to forge a really deep connection with. But because of life circumstances, because of situations, in your case, because of trauma, we simply just let that connection go by. Yes, what will be will will be. But there's a difference between you connecting with this person when you're 15 and you connecting with this person when you're 55. Like that's why I say God is funny. But on the very other hand, there are people who really and truly, like you said, you were just supposed to do a project with them. You were just supposed to drop a word in their life. You were just meant to play this minor role in their life for this season. But for some earthly reason, we hang on to them. They're our friends. We love hanging around with them. And God is like, what did you not? Are you not going to like seek me and ask if this is a person? So, and I love this because I saw a joke on about this on Instagram. When we pray the prayer, "Hey God, remove any unnecessary people from our lives," and then it's almost like next day, actually same hour delivery. All of a sudden, like legitimately, that happened to me, and I'm just like, huh. So clearly, that person wasn't meant to play that role in my life. But in vice versa, there is people now who the connection may not come easily, but you know what? It's through forging that connection. It's kind of through pushing through the awkwardness and through pushing through the all the stuff that comes with deepening the connection that you begin to see, this person was actually meant to be a good friend of mine, but because I was so caught up in everything else, I couldn't see that. So to say like, how do you know whether? And I say all that to say this: how do you know whether this person is meant to be your friend? This person is meant to be the Jonathan to your David, or this person is meant to be the Peter. Well, nope, Peter, John, James. Yes, Peter, John.
You should have said Peter Parker.
No, I almost said Paul. I was like, wait a minute. Paul wasn't in functioning in that when Jesus was. I was like, wait a minute. But the Peter James, the Peter John James to your James. How you know whether this person is meant to be a very close friend of yours? I really think it does come down to yes, asking God, hey God, is this individual meant to play this role in my life? And also taking the time out, which is going to play into the next episode, relationships, just in a different way, taking the time out to get to know them.
But speaking of Jesus and his inner circle, right? I think what people also should make note of is that you was fine. Like you have Jesus had Peter, James, and John.
Congratulations. You didn't struggle like how I did. We love to see that.
His closeness. Like, listen, Peter was willing to take a man's ear off, murder a man for Jesus. Okay, his closest friends, right? And then he had the other 12. Didn't treat them like pariahs, but his inner friends were like, if Jesus said, "Hey, tired," they're like, "All right, go sleep. Everybody else, let's do this. Let's." Peter probably be at the tent, being like, "No one sees him until he's ready to be seen." Like that's their friendship. They didn't treat the other 12 as um like they weren't as important, but he had this close knit of inner sanctum three, and that is okay. Like if you have a closeness with two people, three people, don't feel bad that you're in a group of 12. I don't know how that happens,
I
if
commend you, actually.
like if you have a good group of 12 people and you have a close three, don't feel bad. Those close three are meant to be your close three, hopefully.
Knock on wood.
And then everybody else is meant to just be good friends. But those close three are your deep forged connections that, if you say, yo, I'm really struggling, you're not going to call Jane, you're going to call Chris. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like you don't like Jane, but Jane can't pour into you like Chris can pour into you, and I think that's what people need to understand. Just because just there is a the problem with friendships, and we're getting close to time. The
We're
problem
actually 5 minutes over time, but it's okay.
the
It's
problem
okay.
with friendships in Christendom is that everybody wants to be everybody's friend. Everybody, especially as a think about not Christendom, but children, right?
Right.
Everybody wants to be everybody's friend. This is my friend. This is my friend. This is my friend. But in reality, what I would do is what I would teach my children is this: the same way my mother taught me. One, not everybody is your friend. Two, not everybody who smiles in your face is your friend.
Truth.
Three, not everybody can be your friend.
Preach.
Not everybody can handle being your friend. And that's something you have to learn as you get older, especially when you're in Christendom. There's some things that you're going to go through that there's some people cannot handle. They can't handle talking to them about it. They can't handle you trying to get advice about it. They can't handle it. That will cause them to drink. They cannot handle it. It's not because you don't like this person or not because you don't value this person. They literally cannot handle being your friend, not because you're a bother, not because you're troublesome, but because you are you and you have a purpose on this earth and you have a reason to be here. And yes, we might have connected, but this friend cannot pour into you as you need to be poured into. And that is okay. You pouring into them can happen, but they cannot pour into you. But you have your inner sanctum, you have your close three, you have your close four. If you have more than four, I want you to tell me how you did it. Um, and pour into you that can encourage you, that can lift you up, that can replenish you as you move out through this move of Christendom. Tell you something, the Christian journey is tough and it's hard and it's not weak. If you are weak, if you are wishy-washy Charlie Brown, if you can't, this is not for you. This journey, for real, the real, I'm not talking about, oh, I claim Christ and I'm doing whatever I want. I mean the real Christian journey where I claim Christ and I'm trying to live as best as I can according to the scripture, what we call the Bible. It is hard. It is a difficult journey. And if I don't have people who are going to come alongside me, who are going to help me build a tent, who's going to help me catch water, who's going to help me dry my tears, it's going to be tougher. But if I'm always going to have to drag somebody with me,
Andrew friends,
or I'm always going to have to pour into somebody and it cannot pour back into me, to be a dry well. A dry well. And what do you get out of a dry well? Nothing.
I mean, you can get some sand.
Nothing.
Like,
What you supposed to do with sand? You're gonna wait on the lightning to strike and get glass? What you supposed to do with that?
I mean, what you gonna do with the glass?
What you gonna do with that? There's certain people who cannot handle it. Not because you're better than them, not because you're more holy than them, not because you're more righteous than them. That is not it. It's just because the journey that we are all on, but your specific personal journey from here to heaven it needs some people who got backbone. It needs some people who's not going to be afraid of worms, who's not going to be afraid of dragons, who's not going to be afraid of snakes. They need people who going to see that you are about to be eaten by a three-headed toad and knock its head off. Not you're going to be eaten by a three-headed toad and scream and run away. So not everybody can handle your friendships. And if we get into this mindset that can't be not we can be acquaintances with people, but I'm not gonna. I think we should take this definition off acquaintances because I don't think an acquaintance is a friend. I think an
Agreed.
acquaintance is somebody who I can say hi to. I might, we might have some brunch, whatever, but I'm not gonna call you and say hello. Pray for me. You're an acquaintance. We have a very like arm's length type relationship, even to arm's length, because it's something about you. I like you, but it's something about you that don't sit right. I like you, but I can't have you one arm length close to me because you still got some stench on you that I don't know what it smelled like. I have no idea what it is, but you're cool. We can hang in spurts, not in long term. But I feel like I rambled. But yes, you can have your acquaintance. I'm not calling my acquaintance and telling my acquaintance I'm suffering from a bout of depression. I'm not calling my acquaintance to say that. I am calling my friend, which we should say at this point should be a good friend, a jetpack friend, a friend who's going to pray for me, and a friend who's not going to call somebody else and say, they're suffering from depression.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh, they're suffering from depression. A friend is going to say, get you some help because you always suffering from depression. And why do you not have a therapist? And why are you not talking to a psychiatrist who's going to smack you upside the head and say, get some help so you can be successful. We want to see you be the best that you can be.
And I think this is a conversation that we're definitely going to have to come back to because, as you mentioned, Peter and Jesus, we also know that Peter was the one who denied Jesus three
For
times,
sure.
as Jesus said he would. And this is something that we're probably going to have to, I literally just said we're going to have to come back to it. But this is something that we probably should come back to because the question now, and you don't have to answer this, what do you do now to when this is a close friend? You know for a fact that this friend is meant to play this role in your life. You know for a fact they're meant to be here. They're meant to be in your inner sanctum, in your inner circle. But they turn around and betray you. And not necessarily betray, and a betrayal could be, which I think is madness if they do this. Like betrayal could be they sleep with your spouse, to which you have to ask if they were really a friend to begin with.
Yeah.
Or betrayal could be that the friendship was violated. Do whatever life event, do whatever would happen, the friendship was violated, and now the I don't want to. That's not sacred, but the friendship was violated, and now it's broken. So I think that's something that we're gonna have to revisit. Like, what do you like? What do you like? How do you,
Shoot,
especially if you know this person is meant to play in this role, how do you get to the point now to where you can invite them back into the inner Santo? I'm not talking about you don't know. I'm talking about you know for a fact that this person is meant to be in your life and play this and fill this role. How do you get to the point now to where you can invite them back into the inner sanctum and treat them not forgetting the offense, but forgiving the offense and building off of that?
I will say this. Judas was part of the 12. Peter was part of the 12. Peter had a bad day. Judas had a bad heart.
And with that, thank you for coming to the third revival, well, technically second revival, because Exasperated was a re. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. And that's how you know it's been a while because I don't even know how to end this.
My name is Yasmin.
My name is Ebane.
And this is the Black Bible.
Should have done that in the beginning. See you guys next time.